Well, next, I'm just going to throw you a softball pitch one here, Mike. What about the divisive presidential election? We're recording this in September. The election is front and center in all of our minds. There's a whole range of responses for how the church, how Christians should be a part of this election. So how would you say God's calling us to respond and engage?
Yes. So number one, we should be involved in the election. It's important that we vote because it's a big choice that's being made. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have to vote with our eyes wide open and not emotionally. So for me, there are things that President Trump can do that frustrate me. There are ways that he can act that I find demeaning, that I find juvenile, that I find self-destructive, degrading to the office of the president, and doing damage to our culture as a whole, kind of dragging us all in the mud together. On the flip side, when it comes to vote, I'm looking at who's going to do a better job about stopping the slaughter of the unborn. I'm looking at who's going to fight for our religious liberties. I'm looking at who's going to push back against Islamic extremism. I'm looking at who's really going to stand with Israel. I'm looking at who's going to stand up to the tyranny of China. I'm looking at who's going to push back against radical transgender activism. I look at the Democrat platform and the Republican platform. It's a total no-brainer for me. Of course, I'll vote for Donald Trump. So he's not my savior. He's not my Lord. As I tweeted the other day, I said, let's just keep things simple. And here's what I said. Just pull it up here. I live for Jesus. I vote for the president. My message is Christ crucified and resurrected, not Trump elected and reelected. I'll die for the Lord. I pray for the president. Only one captivates my heart and my mind, and he sits enthroned in heaven, not DC. So that's my posture. That's my attitude. That's my mindset. If you want to talk to me about Trump, you're a neighbor or someone and you want to bash, listen, I'd rather not talk about that. Let's talk about Jesus. In other words, I will tell you why I vote. I'll explain it. I can justify it. My book, Evangelicals at the Crossroads, lays these issues out. I recently did an interview with Mike Huckabee on his show, laid these things out. And he said after his best 4 minutes he's ever done and the clearest thing he's ever heard on evangelicals voting for Trump. But we have to put our testimony first. That's the biggest thing. Put the cross before the flag, put spiritual activity before political activity. Don't get caught up with election fever. So the biggest thing I'd urge everyone to do is step back, catch your breath, worship the Lord, confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, no matter who is president in the White House, and then look at the larger consequences of the election. If we tie our life and our testimony in with Donald Trump and become apologists of the president or for the president, then that will harm our national witness. On the flip side, if we say, here's who I'm voting for, and here's my witness, and we can show how they are consistent, a vote for Trump could be like a wedge in the door to stop it from slamming, because otherwise, if Democrats get in, we're going the way of social anarchy, mobocracy, socialism, and a real attack on our fundamental freedoms.